Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious, Rant, everybody. Hope everyone's had a fantastic weekend. If you're in the LA area, hopefully, well, actually, just basically the West Coast. I'm pretty sure it's all over. I don't know, actually. But hopefully, everybody's surviving the weather right now because it is freaking freezing out there. I was not a fan of the cold this weekend.
It's raining cats and dogs, but I guess one could say it's raining bears out here, just because of how crazy it's been.
It's crazy. It's like I'm on cocaine. Which we all guessed it. Of course, we're talking about the newest movie, Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks, which I did not realize until like a day before seeing it. So I thought, oh, this will be interesting. It's directed by her, and let me get out the Burn. Do you have the cast list already ready to go? Or
I do got it.
Okay,
here.
Why don't you let everybody know who's in it?
Yeah, so for the cast, we've got Kerry Russell. Alden Ehrenreich. Kerry Russell was in a few things like The Americans. She was in Mission Impossible 3, and another few things like here and there. Alden Ehrenreich, people might mainly know him as playing the young Han Solo in the Solo Star Wars story movie. O'Shea Jackson Jr., as you like to call him, Lil Cube. Ice Cube son, he's been in a bunch of things here, and then he's always awesome in everything he's in. And of course, the late great Ray Liotta is in this movie. This is one of his last movies he filmed before passing away early this year, unfortunately. But this is one that we'll get to see him on screen, and I think there's a couple more coming out, but I mean, we won't know until we see it. But yeah, this is one of the last ones he did.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of good like other actors in it, like Jesse Tyler, the one lady who's been in like Justified, Walk Hard. I forget her name, but she's so great in this.
Margot Martindale. Yeah,
I was gonna say it's Margot, but I wasn't sure her last name. But thank you for that. And yeah, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. Before we kind of give like our overall thoughts, this is a non-spoiler review, guys, so don't worry. This is one of the movies we definitely recommend to go check out in theaters while it's out. And also, please don't forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We always appreciate it.
Down there.
Exactly, it's all down there. But yeah, so this is essentially inspired by the true story of when cocaine really was dropped in the middle of like a suburban, I think of, what was it? Wisconsin? Where I forgot where it was at, but essentially in real life, a bear did ingest millions of dollars worth of cocaine. Let's just say that enough for it to, to die. This is a different twist on it, yeah, because animals can't do drugs, but this bear ate enough to where it died like pretty quick. And essentially, this is a different twist on it, almost like a what if story. Like, what if the bear, instead of dying, it just got jacked up on coke? And you think it would be pretty offensive to a lot of like animal rights people and all this stuff, and maybe it is, but in all honesty, it was such a fun movie. I really did not expect to like it as much as I did. It was funny. It had a bit of a heartfelt message in there, but overall, it was just such a crazy, wacky ride. Like, I don't know how you couldn't have fun with it, to be honest. Bern, what did you think about this movie overall?
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming into a movie called Cocaine Bear, there's certain expectations that you have coming in, and that's of being just like this wild ride of just carnage and debauchery and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think the movie delivered on those fronts, with how silly the premise is. You really had to do a bad job of making this, like, at the very least, not entertaining. It's like, it was entertaining, and I think coming off of the disappointment last week of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and how that title didn't necessarily live up to its potential, I think this one here definitely does. Of course, this is very different types of movies, and this is like very much a horror comedy type thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it delivered on all those fronts. I thought the comedy was really funny, and I thought a lot of the kills and the horror aspects were really well done. And I know this is Elizabeth Banks' third movie that she directed. I believe she directed Pitch Perfect 2, that Charlie's Angels remake that came out a couple years ago, and then now this one. And to be honest, I didn't know that she had this in her, so this was a huge surprise to me. And yeah, I think she did a really good job with this one.
Yeah, it's definitely the most different one she's had so far. I mean, given she's only had, this is her third movie, but it was a lot of fun. Like I said, the cast had great. Like I think they knew they had a good time with it. So it's such a
Hmm.
ridiculous premise. Like how do you not have fun with it in a certain extent? Um, I would definitely. And now how we're talking about Ant-Man versus that. My honest thoughts would be if someone were like, hey, what would you rather go see in the theater again? Like if you had to go back, it's like I'll go see Cocaine Bear again. Sorry, Ant-Man, it's just not worth it. And that's really sad to say. And that's very different movies, like Burn said. So that kind of says a lot about it, in my opinion. So that would even get me interested. Like, really, like this is better than a Marvel movie? It's like absolutely it is. It's like shit. Okay, we'll go check it out. And I would definitely say it's worth the theater experience. Maybe if you're not looking forward to this, maybe you don't have to. But it was just a lot of fun. Where like if you kind of wanted a good movie to start the season off, and maybe you're a little impatient, this is a fun one to do.
Yeah,
With
I
that
mean,
in
if
mind,
it,
sorry,
oh,
Brent, go
sorry.
ahead. No, you go
No,
ahead.
yeah, just yeah, like if you're just coming into the theaters and want to see something different, like it's not a big blockbuster movie, but it is one of those that it's one of those smaller, almost counter programming movies where, and the kids can go watch the Ant Man thing, and if you want something a little bit more adult and a little bit more something with an edge, then this one is definitely along those lines.
Exactly. And with all that said, I would give this a 3 out of 5. I know it's the same rating as I gave Ant Man. I was very disappointed by it, but it's just because it's such a weird movie. I know it's probably not gonna be for everybody, but I had a lot of fun with it. I thought the comedy was great. Uh, just some of the deaths and some of the actors in it were so hilarious. I was like, okay, this is pretty great. It's nothing spectacular, but it's such a fun movie to have. So yeah, that's my score for it.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the comedy aspects were really fun. Like I mentioned, the kills are pretty creative and they're a lot of fun too. Very gory too. Like so, this is definitely not one for the younger children. I mean, it is rated R, so if you're taking kids to the movie, well, that's on you. but uh, but yeah, I mean, I thought the CGI on the bear too was really well done. With this movie seemingly like looks like it's on a little bit of a lower budget. I mean, compared to a big blockbuster movie, for sure, it's a lower budget. So the fact that this CGI bear looks a lot better than a lot of things we do see in those blockbusters, I thought that was really well done, and I think they utilized those special effects really really well, and it integrated well with the environments. Yeah, as I mentioned, all the actors, their characters aren't fully no they're not fleshed out. They're very one note, but I think they service the story like really well and stuff. And I think for me the two standouts were the two kids that we got in the movie, Brooklyn Prince, who plays Dee Dee, and Christian Convery, who plays the little kid Henry. That kid, I think we need to keep an eye on him because that kid has really good comedic timing for especially how young he is, and he was one of the highlights of this movie for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you're just coming into this movie to be entertained, you're going to be entertained. This movie doesn't promise you anything more than what the title implies, and it delivers on all those fronts. So all in all, just a really entertaining time at the movies. It's gonna be a 3 out of 5 for me too, because it's a very simple movie. You come in, hour and a half, you're done with it, and you had a great time.
Exactly. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, Burn, would you recommend going to the theater for it, or it doesn't matter? Like, kind of like what I was thinking.
I mean, I would say, definitely if you want to check it out in the theater, there's something about watching a comedy and a horror movie with an audience that was really fun. Like our audience was really digging the movie and really going with all the different scenarios in it, and they were having a great time. So I think that elevated my enjoyment of the movie too. So these are always movies that are fun to see in the theaters. These are either comedies or horror movies, and this one has both. So this is just a fun time at the theaters, and you can wait if you want to, but if you want like to have a fun experience, then definitely check this one out.
Absolutely. But everybody, what did you think of this movie? For those who did see it, did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you looking forward to seeing it if you haven't already? Like I said, we both think it's definitely worth it, or at least maybe go on a $5 Tuesday if you're not in a huge rush, but you want something
Oh
fun.
yeah, for sure.
But until next time, guys, we got more Last of Us coming. We're kind of nearing the end of that season already. But Mandalorian season 3 finally comes out
Mm,
this week, so it's gonna be another fun show to talk about. Can't wait. And of course, as always, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.